Seriously, the hype was worth it. Soul leveling. Episode 2 just cemented itself as a certified banger, a certified masterpiece. I'll die on that hill. I really think episodes 1 and 2 should have aired together. There's a reason why a lot of, mangas, whether it's a weekly manga, they're usually 20 pages long, give or take. A lot of the first chapters are 60 to 80 pages. Just to get you into the thick of it, make sure you really understand where it's going. And as someone who loves hero fantasies and overpowered characters, I knew it would continue to improve. But I saw a lot of people after episode 1 say oh, he's just going to power up. And really, I know where this is going to go. Very overpowered character. And instead, what we actually got with episode 2 was this insane test where rather than just powering the MC up, you have human survival kick in. There's this test, there's this prayer, there's this ritual in order to deal with an impossible situation that's designed to kill you and break the human spirit. That one by one, people fall because they sprint out of there and give up on faith. And by the end of it, one has to die. And yes, then with that whole situation, do you accept? Do you want to be a player? Now we're going to get into something a little more crazy, but the fact that rather than this just being, let's make our character read a scroll and power up and save everyone, instead, he actually had to give his life in order to protect everyone else. And in doing so, we witness one of the coolest intros to a character seemingly about to be overpowered that I think I can recall in quite some time. Soul leveling, certified banger, no questions asked. In my opinion, I do think it was a missed opportunity not airing episodes 1 and 2 back-to-back. I mean, there's a reason shows like Free Ren dropped its first 4 episodes so you could watch them all in one go. I really think it just would have flowed better. But that's literally the only thing that I think is wrong about how they started this one up, because this is beautifully produced. The opening, the ending, the music, the voice actors, it is so well done. And I'm here for more full live reaction. Episode 2, though, is available on my Patreon if you want to see my full uncut hype. It's over there if you're interested. Now, this was probably my favorite episode that I've seen so far of this anime season. Everything about it. Top to bottom. Perfection. Love it. It's so cool, because over the course of the episode, I kind of have an idea. I'm like, okay, the idea of the commandments and following them. Okay? We need to worship. I was like, okay, let's start praying. They bow. Things start getting a little better. Okay? But now we have to show, worship, right? So we have to pray. I'm thinking, okay, praise Jesus, whatever they need me to say, I'm now your #1 worshiper. And this one dude had the right idea before he got stomped on. And I thought the direction they were going to go was that we just need to pray to evil. I was like, okay, do you want me to pray to Satan? Do you want me to pray to Hades? Whatever you want, I'm going to do, because I don't want to get brutally killed. And the idea of how it slowly over the course is like this ritual, right? The thing gets up after the respect, and then you're going to different statues to start playing this song. And over the course of it, we see our mech, who is considered the weakest member in this party. But in terms of survival instinct, being able to read a room second to none in that room, and maybe second to none in terms of a lot of people, maybe even a group of thousands, the fact that we see him lose his leg, he loses his arm. At one point, he gets skewered and slammed onto that altar slab. It is brutal. But the fact that there's this really cool moment where after everything's kind of seemingly okay, as each person goes into that circle, a new flame lights up. I'm thinking, okay, it needs 7 people as a sacrifice. My thought was 1 person would survive and that would end up being our MC. And 7 people would walk into that. It would light up. They would all be human sacrifices. Power would go into our character. That was my train of thought. Instead, no. Once all 7 was there, the gate opens. And this is so cool. This is what tied the bow on this being such an impressive intro hook, because rather than this just being here's this big titan-like creature we need to defeat, Instead, it was based on human survival instincts. People. Our bodies are designed to survive. If we try to hurt ourselves, our body will kick into overdrive and try to keep us alive. So when you're put into a situation where even if you have the kindest of hearts, if you have a family, you don't want your family to go without their father or their mother or whoever it is, right? So the fact that the first one who runs through the door slowly shut. So basically, it seemed like one person had to stay behind, and you knew it had to be our MC. But I like the fact that the reason the MC stayed behind wasn't because it was just immediately out of the way. There was this guy who said, like, listen, take her and go, right? Like, you guys have a full life ahead of you. I've had a decent enough life. I've made some mistakes today, you guys go. But he has one leg and she can't walk, so who has to stay behind? Of course it has to be our MC. And this is interesting because I thought, what was going to happen here? Like, the entire time, I had the general idea, but every time I thought I knew the outcome, it would go in completely different directions. I thought it was a timer. As long as he stayed alive long enough, those statues would deactivate, and basically he would get a reward of some sort, like, hey, you, worship me. You followed the rules. Here's your reward. Go be the solo leveler and be absolutely op. No, ma'am. That dude got skewered and they were teasing him because they could have easily cut his head off right away. They could have stabbed him in the heart, but they would just keep skewing and skewing to the point that he gets thrown down. And with, I think they said like 0.2 seconds left, choose yes or no. Do you want to be a player? Here we are. That is such a cool hook. The world's interesting with the little portals opening up. I mean, we have the mother plot line with him and his sister. There's a lot of good little breadcrumbs here. But the idea of where he now goes as a character, I leave episode 2 with no idea where the world goes from here. I know nothing about Soul Leveling other than it's hype as hell and apparently has crazy fight scenes. But this was so cool. No one told me that I could be in for a ride, where sometimes we're in situations where we have this horror survival from a video game level and we need to be able to manage it. Because otherwise, if this thing goes to the service, who knows what type of apocalypse could unleash. Absolutely brilliant. The production, man, the running animation, the attack animation, just at every... The opening animation alone has no right to look as good as it does. But the fact that that level of animation can be seen in the episode when they're running and trying to flee for their life. The music. How is this show produced this? Well, I really don't know, but I am so happy. They went from saying, hey, this is going to be like a 24-episode back-to-back to saying, hey, listen, you're getting 12 episodes now. We'll tell you when you get the next 12 episodes. Because this level of production needs as much time in the oven cook and the delays and the idea of how they're handling this production. I think they're doing a hell of a good job. And I really don't see it slowing down anytime soon because we did have a delay, right? So they did let it cook in the oven, and holy shit, that's more than you can say for a lot of anime productions these days. But this is definitely one of the most visually impressive shows I've seen over the past 12 or 24 months. Honestly, it looks that good now. There are a lot of hype series that get anime, and hype series aren't going to be for everyone. Whether it's because you're not really into action, or maybe you're not into the style of anime it is, right? But I think what made this so brilliant is we know we're going to see crazy action. The opening showed as much, right? Like, if you needed any extra, like, are you sure it's going to be hype? They teased more than enough. But it's the fact that rather than just jumping in and just giving him a power-up and just letting him save the way, they broke down human mindsets and their fears and how they turned on each other, but then, most importantly, how they sacrificed themselves by the end. It's brilliant. This was such a perfect 10 out of 10 episode. And while I very much enjoyed episode 1, episode 2 is where the fun begins. All I leave saying is, holy shit, give me more. Certified banger. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below, whether for your source reader. The source reader thing's a little interesting because I heard it's more adapting the novel rather than the comic counterpart, so be interesting to see how sorcerers differ on this. But either way, let me know your feelings down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe. If you're new around here, of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon. And hey, while you over there, you also get a video shout out. All right? So today we have Blood iOS, Samantha, That Random Man, Anime Man, Paltarzan Virus, and Thomas Aber. So I appreciate the support. Please take care.